Hiya, Barbie.
Hi, Ken.
You want to go do a podcast?
Sure.
Jump in. Ladies and gentlemen, Cullens and Swans, Volturi of all ages, and everyone else, welcome to Binging Barbie. I'm your host, Jay, and with me I have my co-host. This is the skin of a podcaster, John.
John, yes, hello, it's John. I am back after not being part of this thing that you've been doing.
We'll talk about that in just a second here, but this is a podcast about toy media franchises, 2000s nostalgia, and whatever else we want to talk about. And today we are here to talk about, I guess it's not our rankings because you were not involved in the creation of these rankings, but the rankings we have of the movies of the Twilight Saga. So, John, before we get any deeper, I have to ask, I know you're super invested in this debate, so I want to just get it out of the way to start. Are you Team Edward or Team Jacob?
I think I've typically been Team Edward because I've only ever seen the first film, and that was the main relationship of that film. So, there you go.
I am surprised that you had an answer ready to go, and I appreciate that.
See, I knew that you were going to ask that question because I remember that this was like a huge deal, like way back in the day when those skirmishes were having. Yeah.
Yep, it's still a big deal.
I think, it was. I think that was possibly part of the advertisement for the parody film Vampires Suck. I don't know.
Probably. There were a lot of parodies.
That was a really weird time.
This might not interest you, but Taylor Lautner was on SNL. I forget the exact reason why, but he of course plays Jacob in the movies, and they did a skit. That's a mix between a sketch and a skit. Where he is playing someone who is Team Edward, and one of the SNL cast members is playing a Team Jacob person who are fighting back and forth. And it is very fun to watch him argue the reverse of his character.
All right.
But that's just a fun thing to look up if anyone who is listening is interested in that.
Yeah. Well, this should be the conclusion of our two-part series of Transformers and Twilight. How was that going? How's this been? Tell me about this. I haven't been here.
I definitely enjoyed talking about Twilight. Anyone who has listened to any of the episodes will know we talked a lot about Twilight. I think most of the episodes are close to 2.5 hours each.
Nice.
Lots of discussion, just lots of really great guests as well. If you're just jumping in on this episode, it's definitely worth going back and hearing everyone's thoughts on these. I know, John, you're not a Twilight fan,
no.
Or
would you
even
like
particularly
to hear
interested? Yes, I want
my
to hear your
Twilight
thoughts.
history?
Yes.
So here's what happened. Twilight. It came out in theaters. My sister, she was at that age, read all the novels, and so she dragged me to go to the movie theaters when they came out. And I was so bored out of my mind. I was not even a teenager yet, so like this was the most uninteresting thing to me. Then of course, when it came out on DVD, they would rent it from the video store multiple times, and so they would drag me into the room, and so I would watch even more. And it was still so boring. Yeah, I just didn't love the visuals or the tone. There's a lot of weird, just out of context moments in this thing.
Oh yeah.
That out of context is the most ridiculous thing out there. But anyway, by the time the sequels came out, I didn't care at all for the first one, so I didn't at all think about the others. But like I do remember, I think, what was it, New Moon? That's the second one?
Yes, that's the second one.
All right. Well, the second one, New Moon, while that was coming out, that was when I had moved to the United States for a couple of years. And my memory of that one is that as soon as like we got to the US, got off the airplane through customs, got a rental car, drove around. The first thing we did was we went to Burger King because we were hungry. And
Yeah.
at Burger King, they were advertising the new film, New Moon. So like the French fry little box had like the movie poster on it, the drinks. It was all there, and that's my history with Twilight. Is that?
Okay, yeah. They had some weird merchandise for these when they tried to do like McDonald's toys for the movies or Burger King toys.
Yeah,
There's
definitely.
some fun stuff going on there. Um, but yeah, Twilight. It's it has such a cultural legacy that it's we don't need to belabor it much here before
Yeah.
we get into the rankings. Thank you for reminding me, by the way, that this is a dual, the end of our two-part series on Transformers. So I'm going to quick run through the rankings
Oh,
of the entire series. We're not gonna. We already did our Transformers ranked episode, so I'm just gonna list off the titles. Um,
okay.
yeah. Oh, need to need to keep track of my numbering system here because I messed myself up.
It's
Yeah.
all. You have multiple number fives.
Yep.
Uh,
Well, yeah, just quick for anyone who hasn't listened. I think that the Twilight of the Transformers series, especially the first three Transformers movies, tie in with Twilight in a weird way. Of they're both coming out at around the same time. They're both aimed at teen audiences. They both are kind of critically panned, but have their fans. So I thought it was interesting to have those in conversation, which is why we paired these off.
mhm.
Also, I just wanted an excuse to talk Twilight. So, um,
Sure.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. At number, I believe this is, yes, number 14 on our combined Twilight and Transformers rankings is Transformers Revenge of the Fallen. Then number 13 is Transformers The Last Night. Number 12, Transformers, the 2007 film. Number 11 is Transformers Rise of the Beasts. Number 10 is Transformers Dark of the Moon. Number 9, The Transformers, the movie.
Mm.
And now we get into, at number 8, our first Twilight here, the Twilight Saga Breaking Dawn Part 2, with a score of 3.3 out of 5. This is number 4 on my personal Twilight rankings. Actually, it's probably number 4 on my overall rankings because I think I ranked all of the Twilights higher than all of the Transformers. So, uh, yeah, yeah. This is the last Twilight for anyone who doesn't know. Have you heard anything about this one?
Um. All I've seen is TV spots, and I know by reputation a terrible CGI baby. That's
Yes,
it.
that is this one, the terrible CGI baby. Do you know what happens to that baby in relation to the character Jacob?
I know. See, I know that the stuff happens. I just never bothered to look into it.
That's fair. That's one of the weirder things in the franchise is when um, Jacob, who is a werewolf, magically imprints on Bella's daughter, as in like becomes focused on the daughter in a way that's not romantic, and it is the weirdest thing in these movies. I
Hmm.
cannot explain it.
Okay.
I feel like the CGI baby, the imprinting, and then the other thing you might know about this one is it ends in a giant, big, huge battle where like main characters are getting killed off. And then it turns out that the entire battle was a vision of the future and didn't actually happen. It is though. Oh, you should at some point. At some point, I should make you watch the battle because the battle itself is very very good, very exciting, just well shot. But yeah,
Hmm.
the fake out there. I think that's the big reason this is so low on the list is that fake out ending. And then this is also part two, and like a lot of part twos, it's kind of filling time. There isn't much material for this to do. There's like 20 minutes of this that is just people going around to talk to different like vampires and be like, "Hey, want to join our army?" for 20 minutes. So, yeah, not super engaging compared to the other Twilights, but it does have its moments. I actually really like the final battle. But yeah, then I guess number 7 we have the Transformers movie Bumblebee. Number 6 we have Transformers Age of Extinction. Number 5 we have the Twilight Saga Eclipse. This is the third one.
Okay.
What is this one? What is the defining thing of this one? This one is the real like Team Edward versus Team Jacob movie.
Hmm.
This is where that really comes to a head because New Moon is more Team Jacob for most of the movie. This one is when they're actually like in competition for Bella.
I see. I think I often forget that this one exists.
Yeah, because it seems like because I get it confused with the Hunger Games all the time, where I go, "Oh yeah, there's 3 Twilight books and 4 movies," but no, there's actually 4 Twilight books and 5 movies.
Ah,
And this
interesting.
one is kind of the this was originally intended like originally written as the ending of the series, and then Breaking Dawn was like written after that, after the original 3 were written, to kind of like give Bella a bigger ending and like tie up different loose ends. And I kind of think this one was expanded when Stephanie Meyer realized that Team Jacob was a thing that needed to be addressed. So yeah, this one has like a big climactic battle, but it's not the big battle, and it has this is this is the one that our friend Emily refuses to watch because at the end of the previous movie, Bella and Edward get engaged, and at the beginning of the next movie, Bella and Edward get married.
All right, so I might have been mistaken about New Moon being the Burger King one,
Okay, might have
because
been
this
this one.
I left it. I went to the States in 2010 when this film came out, but it's
Okay,
also very likely because Eclipse came out late '09.
yeah, they were all like November releases.
It's possible that Burger King just had leftover versions because that happens sometimes that
Yeah,
they have leftover stuff. I'm pretty sure it was New Moon
they are
because
they are difficult to distinguish
it
somewhat.
it is. Yeah,
Uh,
I don't care. I
yep,
just thought I'd
I
point that
figured.
out. Yeah.
No, yeah, that is worth bringing up. Yeah, this one. So I read through the books for this podcast, and this one was my least favorite of the books. So I actually really ended up liking the movie, which makes subtle little changes that make certain things that really bugged me in the book a little bit easier to swallow. Um, yeah, this one is my number 2 overall in my personal rankings. That's just, I mean, at the end of the day, it's kind of a coin toss for me between the first 3 Twilights, which is the best. I think they all have elements to enjoy. This one is the most overtly horror-ish in like a, I guess the Breaking Dawn movies have more horror elements in them, but they're a little bit campier. This one's trying to be a little bit more serious. They brought in like an actual horror movie director for this one. Um, it's still Twilight. It's still mostly romance, but there's a little bit more intensity there that I enjoy.
Sure.
But yeah, anyway, on to number 4. We have the Twilight Saga New Moon. They score of
Ooh.
3.5 out of 5. This is my personal number 3. And yeah, this is the one where Edward breaks up with Bella and Bella spirals into depression and then goes and hangs out with Jacob for a bit, and then that that relationship starts to grow and change, and then he disappears and becomes a werewolf. Yeah, New Moon.
I'm glad that my sister never drugged me to all of these films when they were coming out because I
This
don't know.
one, yeah, this one is fun. I think it has a bit more comedy in it. Like they go and see an action movie, and the name of the action movie is Face Punch,
Hmm.
and they're like sitting in the theater and listening to the audio, and it's like it's fun. This one also has the best soundtrack of like outside music, not the musical score, but like bringing in our other artists to do music. I actually have been listening to it pretty much anytime I go anywhere in the car because it's just like good indie rock, alt rock music. So yeah, Twilight New Moon, I really like it. I think it's
Yeah.
fun. This is kind of the most Team Jacob movie. So if that's the side you fall on, then this is the one. But yeah, at number 3, the Twilight Saga Breaking Dawn Part 1 with a score of 3.3 out of 5. This is the one that is basically just the wedding, the honeymoon, and then the pregnancy. Have you Are you familiar with the pregnancy and birth by reputation? Have you heard people talk about those things?
Vaguely, yeah.
Okay. Yeah, because I feel like I knew going into this one that this is kind of the one that has a reputation of being the most upsetting, just in terms of how it is portraying those things. Because it's not a normal pregnancy; it is a vampire pregnancy. Um, there's also a little bit of camp to this one, though. At one point, because Bella is like suffering, and no matter how much she eats, she just keeps losing weight, and it's getting to a point where like she won't last the night, and then someone's like, hey, what if the baby wants blood? And so they pull out like a blood bag that they've been keeping in reserve and pour it into a styrofoam
uh,
cup, like the kind you get at a McDonald's with the little lid. Put the little lid on it, and then she's just like slurping the blood with a straw.
oh. Oh boy.
It's enjoyable. Yeah, this is also one that suffers from being two parts. I really like that the first hour of this movie is just the wedding and the honeymoon, but then the second hour of the movie is a whole lot of werewolf drama that doesn't really matter. And the pregnancy. The pregnancy stuff is interesting, and the closest you get to like body horror. There's a point where Bella's back breaks, and it's quite the visual for a PG-13 movie.
Hmm. Nice. Yeah.
I know I'm really selling you on this one, aren't
Yeah, yeah. Gotta go watch it right now. My sister's in town.
I? Perfect opportunity. These
Yeah.
these are fun. I don't know how you feel about like rowdy screenings, but these are fun to see with an audience who is responding to the film.
Uh-huh.
But yeah, anyway, number 2 is of course Twilight, the original Twilight, with a score of 3.5 out of 5. This is also my number 1 of the Twilights. It's the original, it's the classic,
Yeah,
the one
it's
that
that
started it
one.
all.
Do you know something that I kind of like realized recently?
What?
Is that I don't really care for vampires or
Oh,
werewolves as like whatever. It's
as
just
concepts?
I mean sometimes I feel like there's been just an oversaturation of those concepts to the
Okay.
point where when a new thing that's like, oh okay, they're doing vampires now. It's like, oh okay, they're doing werewolves now. I think like if they had kept it in moderation, but like because vampires are just really popular because they're sexy, I guess. Um, they just have to appear in so many things, even when they really shouldn't appear. It's so random at times. Just it's like, you're watching this random show. Guess what? We have a vampire episode.
Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah, it is like, especially post Twilight, there's a giant boom in vampires and werewolves and supernatural creatures. I think we didn't really talk about it when we talked about Monster High, but I think you can draw a line from Twilight to Monster High.
It's possible, yeah.
That was just like, even though Monster High is aimed at like younger audiences than Twilight, that there's some crossover there. That
Yeah.
it's like, oh, vampires are cool now, so let's do
It's
Monster High.
it's also like they they portray vampires in a lot of the same ways, where a lot of them are like really muscular shirtless guys that have like an open button like
Yes.
kind of shirt, and they're like laying on the bed with blood and just like eroticism and like a dead girl or with a bite mark. It's, you know, that's how a lot of them just keep portraying vampires, and it's like, I don't
it's
think that's interesting, but okay.
it's funny you mention that, because that scene is in Twilight.
Yeah,
That is when Edward, like, the this is the skid of a killer Bella scene. It is, he unbuttons the top few buttons of his shirt. I guess maybe, oh no, he doesn't button his whole shirt, but he's still like got it on.
yeah,
Slowly pads up, so you get to see all of the glitter, all of the
mm,
body glitter.
yeah,
Uh, that's one of the things. Every one of these Twilight movies tries to fix the running and the sparkling, and all of them are bad, but in very different ways. They never quite figured it out. They had 5 chances to figure it out, and they never quite figured it out. But yeah, Twilight. This is it's Twilight.
it's
It's iconic.
it's Twilight. Yep, there are many love stories that are better than it, but yeah.
Speaking of a better love story than Twilight, at number 1 for our combined Twilight and Transformers rankings, barely beating this out, we have Transformers 1 with a score of 3.5 out of 5.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that
it
is.
was a nail biter when I was looking at the scores. I thought, oh, is Twilight gonna come out on top? But no, Transformers 1 just eked
You
it out
know,
by a few decimal points.
it's see, Twilight is so high up on the list because I wasn't on the podcast
Yes,
for those.
that is true. I gave each of these Twilight movies an 18 out of 25,
Hmm.
because I saw the first one and gave it that score. And then I saw the second one and I'm like, how do I give this a ranking? So just gave it the same, but with like slightly different points in different categories. That Eclipse, I was like, oh, I'll just keep the gimmick up. Then by breaking down part 1 and part 2, I was like, I don't like these movies as much, but I've already committed to the bit. So those are maybe a bit higher than they deserve to be. But it's fun. We have fun here.
Yeah, we typically do.
But yeah,
All right.
any final thoughts as we wrap up this Transformers Twilight double feature?
It was fun looking back at Transformers. It was fun having like a couple months off to not be part of Twilight. Um, but yeah, I'm looking forward to our next series that we're going to be
Yeah,
doing.
I
So
don't know if we've announced that officially, but we are doing the Ice Age movies.
yes, those films. That should be an interesting time.
It should, yeah. We're recording the first episode of that very soon. So
Yes.
I have not seen any of the movies in many years, so I have to watch those. And actually, I think I only ever saw the first one as a kid, so it will be interesting to see. I saw your star ratings on Letterboxd, and
And
I
my
am
random rantings on some of them. Yeah.
yep. Well, yeah. Thank you everyone for listening. If you enjoyed, make sure to go check out our Patreon. You can follow us on social media. I don't have the list in front of me right now, but the links are, if you're listening to this on any podcast platform, you can find the links to all of that stuff. And yeah, we will be back next week to talk about the first Ice Age movie.
Yeah.
Bye, Bella.
Scrat.